those of you who saw the original training video, you may remember that I mentioned that you have the ability to add RSS feeds into Social Flow to pull in content from your website automatically. Now, to add a feed, there's a shortcut here from the main Publish page. We click that, it'll go directly to the Content Sources list of all of the RSS feeds here that we see. You'll see that the type of content, feed, is already selected. Now we simply paste in a feed URL. We'll click Next. You'll see that we've read the feed. We've been able to pick it up here. Then we need to attach it to the social account that you want to use it for. And keep in mind, you can use the same RSS feed for multiple social accounts. Now you have the option here to add all existing items. This is typically the last 20 to 30 items on the RSS feed, if any of that content is still useful. Mostly, we just go with the most recent item. Now you can add the feed here with all of the default settings, or you can go to Add and Customize to customize any of the settings. Now first you'll see the feed is currently off. You actually want to wait until you've modified all the settings that you need to before you turn it on, to be sure that whatever you've modified is applied to the content that gets pulled in first. If you have multiple RSS feeds and they are split up by categories or events, it might be useful to label the feeds as you add them to Social Flow so that you can easily pull a report of those types of content. If you have one main RSS feed, as many clients do, you may not need the labeling. We can automatically add a label for you based on the category field in your RSS feed if you have one. If you plan to use a template that will pull in several lines of text for your Facebook post, we can allow whitespace, meaning paragraph returns. This will make more sense when I talk about the templates. The default message status controls how the content comes into Social Flow and how it may potentially go out. The hold status is the safest option. This will allow you to have the content brought in on hold, and it will sit in the queue and wait for you to edit and customize, and then change it to optimize, schedule, or publish. The optimize feature here, if you plan to not make very many edits to the content before they go out, you can have Social Flow automatically optimize the content for you and start to send that content out from the feed at the optimal time without any manual intervention. If you have a breaking news feed or a feed of content that must send out immediately, you can select the Publish Now option so that all the items that come in from the RSS feed immediately go out. Now, as I mentioned, you can use the same RSS feed for multiple social accounts, so we can easily just copy it over to another handle if we'd like. The message expiration controls how long the content items will sit in the queue, particularly if they're on hold. So if this feed is set to hold, the items will sit in the queue for up to 1 week by default. And at the end of the week, if you haven't sent the item out, we will expire it out of the queue for you so you don't end up with a huge backlog of content. You can customize this time frame. If you were to set the feed to optimize, this would control the optimization window. So the item would come into the queue and automatically be optimized for 1 day or 1 week or whatever you decide from this customized dropdown. The expiration behavior here simply states that at the end of that time frame, if the item hasn't sent out, we will expire it. However, you can select that the items must publish by the end of that expiration. This is not necessarily a safe option if you need to review any content before it goes out. As I mentioned the templates, these control the format of what comes into the queue. By default, we're going to pull the article title and the article's URL, and that will be the starting copy for the Facebook post or the tweet. However, you can customize that with any one of these other template options. For example, with Facebook, you don't need the URL in the actual post copy. You just need the metadata underneath. So you can use the title template here to just pull in the article title, and we will still keep the link information under the post. Prefix or postfix allows you to automatically have some text at the beginning of every post or tweet, or some text at the end. Prefix could be something like breaking news : postfix could be a hashtag. Filters allow you to include or exclude certain articles from coming into the queue based on keywords. Those keywords need to be text-based and apply to the title or whatever template that you use here. There's a tracking tags option here if you decide you want to track all of the traffic from your various RSS feeds. Most people tend to just choose tracking tags for the social account, not on the feeds. The publication limits are important if you have a Publish Now feed, saying you want all content to go out immediately. In that case, you may want to prevent collisions, meaning if the feed updates with 3 or 4 stories at the same time, we won't send all 3 or 4. We're going to send the first one, or whatever you decide is the threshold here, and we'll put the rest on hold or on optimize for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You can email us at support@socialflow.com. Thanks for watching.